What's up, everybody? Clint Esposito here with a fun interview I did with Nick Desmond. If you live in the US, mainly probably the East Coast, and you've ever been to a Monster Jam over the last year or two, you probably have seen Nick. So I had a good time talking to him about Monster Jams, how he got into riding and freestyle motocross, and what his plans are for the future. So I hope you enjoy it.
Sounds good, man. How long you been doing podcasts for?
Um, a long ass time. We started Two Wheels to Freedom, me and Nick Gore, which he's in Illinois, and I want to say right before the pandemic, like a year or something before then. And we were going
Good timing.
live. Yeah, and we were going live, and at that time the software and stuff to go live was horrendous. So this setup here is way better.
Yeah, it's crazy how much all the streaming software is advanced.
Yeah, and even during the pandemic, all of a sudden, all these things started coming out, all these platforms and stuff. That's when Zoom got big, but I've used that for a little bit, but I kind of always used other stuff for the most part. Um, all right, so we are here with Nick Desmond. I'm saying that right.
Yep, got
What's
it.
up, Nick? How are you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. So you are. We just had a little conversation. You are down in Florida now.
Yep, I'm living just north of Daytona.
Awesome. So how did you get into riding in general?
Yeah, I was 7 years old and I saw a dirt bike and I'm like, wow, that's cool. And
Awesome.
got my first bike when I was 9, and the rest is history. I mean,
Did you
20
start
years later
racing and
almost.
stuff?
Yeah, I raced locally. I'm from Massachusetts originally. Grew up doing hair scrambles and then moved into riding for the race series up there. Is called J Day Off Road, and I did that for probably 5 or 6 years, and also worked as a sweep rider for them.
What is that to go around and make sure no one's stuck just in the middle of the woods?
Yeah, you get to ride dirt bikes all day. I'd go through 4 gallons of gas every Sunday.
How many stranded people did you rescue?
A lot. I mean, I moved 4 years ago, and I swept right up until I moved. There were event days where there'd be almost 1,000 racers. So just by numbers, you end up with a fair amount of breakdowns or injuries and what have you.
That would suck to be hurt, right? And just sitting in the woods waiting for the event to end for somebody to come through and be like, "Are you all right?"
We ran a tight ship up there, so the courses were like 2 to 4 miles long, and there was 4 or 5 of us who were sweepers, and then we had a quad guy. And if the injury was severe enough, we got them out of there. Usually, we didn't have to wait for the race to end.
Oh, okay. So you're going while the races are still going. You're going through like behind guys.
Yeah, it's kind of like reverse racing when you're sweeping. Instead of trying to pass people, your goal is to stay out of everyone's way
Right.
and take all the lines that you would never take in your right mind if you're out there racing.
Right. So then how did you end up, because I mean, I guess J Day, they do run parts of the motocross track, right?
Yeah, it's part moto, part woods.
Um, so I guess you did have some jumping experience there, but how did you end up transitioning from woods to ramps?
So when I was 18, I worked in a machine shop, and I my buddy who I met through working there was always going and camping at his friend's track out in Western Mass, kind of northwestern Mass, not too far from Crow Hill. But they all rode ramps, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And that was kind of my intro to it, and I just got hooked. I was like, "This is pretty fun."
And that was it. And then how did
Yeah.
you go ahead?
So for a long time, like a good month for me up north. I mean, you know how it is being in Jersey. You really get like 5 months of the year that you can really ride. maybe 6
Yep.
before the winter takes over. But,
And it's still
in the
raining.
beginning, it could, yeah, that's my mom's telling me it hasn't stopped. But, in the beginning, it was slow because I was driving 3 hours to go ride at my buddy's spot, and I'd maybe get to ride ramps once or twice a month. But when I moved to Florida, I made friends with Rich Oyster, and he was down to ride every weekend, and that's kinda when I started learning more than just a sea grab,
And Rich has got
and
a
I got
deep
really
bag of
lucky.
tricks as well.
Dude, that kid shreds.
He shreds. For a random person that doesn't do shows really, like that nobody knows, you're like, what is going on with this guy?
I joke with that kid that he's like the Energizer Bunny. Like, call him, and be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, "Oh, I'm driving semis," or "Oh, I'm getting my pilot's license," or "Just ran my church youth group, and then did calisthenics and slept for 30 minutes. Now I'm gonna go ride ramps."
Yeah.
Like, he just hammers life.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a very good just like personality and outlook and always just kind of like in a good mood and good to be around.
Yeah, he's an awesome human. And he was a real good mentor too. He would push me when we would go ride. He'd be like, "Hey, try looking at the ramp when you're doing a sea grab, and then you'll get into hearts," or just little tips and tricks that definitely helped.
Yeah, it's definitely like you don't have to have like a coach per se, but you'll definitely progress faster if somebody can kind of spot some things, and not everybody is good at looking at somebody and like kind of diagnosing it and being like, oh, you should do this. But it is good when you have somebody around that can do those things and just give you a little different perspective.
Definitely, and I've always laughed at how like you could be telling me how to do a trick and saying everything you're saying is spot on right, but it's not clicking, and then one person says something silly, and they're like, "Oh, why don't you look at the ramp?" Or when you do this trick, bend your arms this way, and that 2 or 3 word difference, you're like, "Oh, that makes sense. I get it."
Well, and I think everybody does tricks a little bit different too. So maybe it's kind of finding somebody that, like you said, you can relate to what they're saying and it makes more sense.
Yeah, it's always fun though when you get that little click. You're like, "Oh, wait a minute, I that makes sense." Then you go and try it and it works, and you're like, "All right, sick."
Yeah, for sure. Progressing in freestyle and figuring out, tricks that have been giving you a hard time is always a awesome feeling, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So how did you get into doing shows then?
Uh, I got really lucky, man. So shows in the very beginning, I through my friends up north that I first got exposed to ramps with. I did a couple with them. I mean, I barely had one trick, but it was still fun. And then when I moved to Florida, I got an opportunity to do an interview at a local show for USFMX, and it checked out, and they gave me a chance, and I've stayed super busy with it ever since.
Awesome. This is why you're kind of near and dear to my heart because I did Monster Jams for a long time too.
Oh, cool. So you know John and all those guys.
Yep. So that was actually my like entryway to freestyle too. Was I was actually one of the first like 5 or 6 probably riders that rode Monster Jam. Like period. They were just putting the
Cool.
whole program together. John's actually from New Jersey, so he called somebody that I rode at their house because he was an ex-pro racer, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to come and do these shows." And he had a business and a kid and stuff, and he's like, "I can't do that." So he goes, "But I do have a pro level rider that already does tricks when he finishes his motos." I was doing like cans and knacks and stuff. And a week later, I went down and tested the ramp out with a 17-year-old Derek Berleau. He may have been 16 at the time.
Cool.
And Robbie Wood, who you probably don't know, and Chad Smith. Robbie Wood, actually, the first year of um, Gravity Games, beat Kenny Bartram. And then he just quit. So,
Beat Bartram and was like, okay, I'm over it.
I can't, I mean, Bartram wasn't who he is now, but yeah, he's just like, oh, I'm out of there. But now looking back, it's funny because you're like, dude, you beat like one of the guys that became, like a huge name in freestyle.
Yeah, definitely.
So what, isn't that awesome? You get to travel the country now, basically just, having fun and doing shows.
Yeah, it's I can't believe I get to do it, honestly. Like I'm a woods rider. I
Yeah,
mean, I know now I'm a freestyle
I
rider,
was
but
gonna
like
say,
like my I grew up riding the Northeast in the woods, and I went to school. I worked with my degree for 5 years, and kind of got this opportunity, and was like, all right, well, I got to take this. And seemed to come in at a good time where there's a bunch of shows, and I can stay pretty busy riding.
yep.
And yeah, it's pretty cool getting to travel and show up and ride dirt bikes for a couple days and bounce, go to the next city.
What's your favorite place you've gone to so far?
Um, I mean, honestly, I got to jump at the DCU in Worcester and at Gillette in Foxborough, and those were probably the two coolest ones, just because I was like, that's home for me.
Right.
And I'm like, oh shit, all the. But outside of being home, I'd say it just comes down to the venue if we have enough room.
But I mean,
Like the
outside of the venue itself, like just coolest cities or states or whatever that you've gotten to experience through this.
Nashville is a cool one just because it's fun. There's a lot to do there.
It is
Uh,
aggressively tourist now.
yeah, it's crazy, man. There's buses with bachelorette parties just nonstop going around. I'm like, wow.
And every country band has their own bar down there now.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. You like walk down that one. I can't remember the name of the street where all the bars and everything are, and it's just every artist bar.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember. I was just there not too long ago too, and I don't remember either. But it wasn't like that 10 years ago. There was like,
Really
yeah, like one country band had a bar, and that was like it. And then I just went there, like I said, maybe it was 2 years ago now, and I was like, holy shit, this place is definitely taking a turn.
crazy too. I jumped at the stadium last summer, and then the arena. It was our first stop for the tour, and that was in January, and it's still jam packed even in the middle of the winter when it's freezing cold out.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a fun city still, and yeah, it's cool to get to travel around and go down there and check it out. Worst place that you've gone to?
Basically everywhere in the East Coast armpit. Baltimore sucks.
Don't make a wrong
Uh,
turn trying to get to that arena.
dude,
No.
I hid when I was there last year. I went to go get like a 6 pack. It said there's a store less than a 10-minute walk away. And I'm like, I'll just walk there.
Yeah.
I hid in the store and I Ubered back because I was just getting eyes the entire way down. I'm like, oh, I definitely should not be where I am right now.
No, you missed the arena by like two streets, and you're like in the ghetto, dude.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's very bad. Um,
But DC is pretty shitty too.
yeah,
Like it's cool. Like I'd never been until I went last year, and the monuments and stuff are. I think it's good to see once, but also pretty sketchy.
yeah, for sure. And unfortunately, most arenas are like hood adjacent.
Yeah, I don't know why they designed them that way. Maybe the land's cheaper or something.
Exactly. That's the cheaper land that they could get to build this big ass thing. That's
Yeah,
why
but
they do
then
it.
there are some cities though, like Huntsville, Alabama's like really taken off, even from when I started doing shows to now. Like that city's beautiful.
Yeah, Huntsville's pretty sweet. Did you go to NASA?
No. So we have our bikes on a semi, and but we don't have like usually we don't have a rental car, so we all bought little electric scooters that are like the birds
Mm-hmm.
that we can fold up and put underneath our bikes. So that's usually our range for
Nice.
how far we travel.
So you guys just fly in and fly out,
If it makes sense,
or you just drive
you
if
know,
it's close enough? But
8 hours or less, I'll usually drive just because by the time you drive to the airport, park, get through security and all that jazz, and then actually get on your flight, you're usually around that 5 or 7 hour mark anyway.
right, and then you don't have a vehicle.
Exactly. And, 8 hours, even if I get out of there at probably 5 or 6 o'clock, I'm still home around midnight or two, and that's not too terrible.
Yeah, sweet. What's your favorite trick?
That I can do? Probably a rock solid.
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
What's a trick that you want to learn then?
I mean, I'd really like to just get flipping figured out. I mean, we all know that that's how this really makes sense as something to pursue. And I've gotten to cut my teeth with that. I went to a foam pit maybe a month and a half ago now, which was pretty fun.
Where was that?
Travis's house.
Nice. Was there a bunch of people
Yeah.
there? Because I know when you get a crowd there, it starts getting hairy because everybody's, you can't talk shit around that crew. You better be ready to do
Yeah.
it.
Uh, dude, it was awesome. I went up there and it was just me and Duffy, and then Robert, Travis's dad, showed up, and Travis had popped by for 5 minutes to grab something. But outside of that, it was just a handful of people. It was pretty cool.
How awesome is Robert?
He's the man.
I like Robert a lot too. A lot of dudes will get mad because he used to just go, "Hey, freestyler." That's what he called everybody that rode freestyle if he didn't know their name. And these guys are getting all mad. I'm like, this dude sees like 1,000 people come through here. He doesn't know who the hell we are.
Yeah,
So
especially now. You see all the videos that they're putting out and all the random people that are
yeah,
seem to just cycle through.
it was the same way then because I just got in through somebody else. I got in through Hartman. So it was like, I couldn't believe we all just were like allowed to come down. So uh, they see a lot of people. So what he was actually having us refill the foam pit with foam
Oh,
because
cool.
they
So
got like a
was
new.
that when they changed it?
No, I think they just got. Well, it might have been when they just put the roof on or something. I was there prior to the roof where we had to pull the tarp like off of the thing by hand.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and then he put that big retractable roof on it. But the foam pit blocks just got like beaten down, so they ordered like a whole friggin' like semi truck load of just like it was cellophaned around, and it was like big like 4x4 blocks of smaller blocks. So we were just like cutting them open and throwing them in there, and he just kept going, "Yo, hey, freestyler, go do this, I'll do that," and I never cared. It was funny to me. And then finally he came over and he's like, they still had the little foam pit in the garage with that climbing wall behind it. And
Yep.
Robert just comes up to me. He goes, "Climb that wall without using your legs." I go, "You do it." So he climbed up it, no legs, and I climbed up it behind him. And he walked out to the end to jump into the foam pit. And he just looks at me and goes, and that was it. He didn't say anything else. That was our whole thing. But then eventually I went back there, and I think everybody else had to leave, and I ended up being the last person. And he's like, "You want to go get dinner?" So we went and got Italian and sat there and bullshit and stuff. So I think he is a like a tough guy, but he's still, if you get his respect, then he's awesome.
Yeah. I think I met him for about 30 minutes or so. I had after my second pull, I had to take a break because my helmet had filled with gas and I had a little incident from
That's
that. I didn't quite get knocked out per se, but everything went black. Somehow, dude, first of all, I didn't know you're supposed to turn your gas off going into the foam pit, but somehow I got stuck and it was like pouring straight into my helmet,
Uh-huh.
wherever it was leaking from. And I was yelling at Duffy, like, get me out of here, dude. There's a lot of gas. And I woke up outside of the pit and I'm like, hey, man, I just need to like get my bearing again. So I took a break and then Robert had showed up and it was pretty cool. He's like, all right, you gonna backflip or what? And that's when I brought my first one around.
Nice.
I'm like, neat. This fit.
Yeah. So how many did you get to do?
I think I did. I went to the pit 7 or 8 times, and I brought a few around off the wall. But I was on a pretty tight schedule when I was there. I drove out midweek, and I had to get back to Florida. So I basically spent an afternoon there just to figure out if I could hang on to a bike flipping in any way. And then I'm looking to get back to a pit as soon as possible to actually get it ironed out at Gap.
Well, let me just give you a little secret here. Flipping gaps is way easier than flipping that wall thing.
All right, cool.
The wall wants to flip you, but the um like it's so tight, the arc of it, that if you pull a tiny bit early, it'll fight you. So you kind of have to wait and pull just right on that. But it is steep,
Yep,
so it does want to come around. But if you miss time your pull, it kind of wants to stop you. And once you start flipping a gap, it becomes easier to control. So like
that
opening
makes
up and
sense.
slowing, like opening up and slowing it down, or tucking in and revving, like works way better than when you're just trying to go up and come back down.
Yeah, I could see that. I've had a couple of guys tell me that once you get your pull figured out, gap is a lot easier than the shorter stuff.
Yeah, and it's just really intimidating, right? Like trying to go 75 or whatever versus something small, but like they said, once you have your pull, like you understand it, then it's the same thing off of everything. And you'll eventually be able to look at a ramp and be like, this is going to flip easy or fast, or I'm going to have to pull on it hard or whatever.
Yeah, it. I think the one of my favorite piece of advice that someone had given me for it was that you shake hands with every demon you have the night before, and you just have to turn your brain off. And I was like, oh, I get it, because
I don't
like
know about
even
shaking
to a foam
hands.
pit. I don't know. I just remember like even going to the foam pit. I'm like, oh, you can do what? All right, I guess you pull.
Yeah. Foam pits are not as fun as everybody thinks they are.
No, they suck.
They suck.
I mean, it's great. You don't break bones usually,
Typically,
but
unless you let go of your bike and then it chases you in.
yeah, that was what I was told. Do not let go, no matter what.
Do not. It's much better to go in upside down. Here's the thing. You're both on the exact same trajectory. So you're either following it in or it's following you in. There's not really any way to get around it.
Yeah, and I realized if you're not able to hold on to that thing, getting out of the pit, you're stuck there. Then you got to swim out.
Yeah. Dude, how tiring and hot is it in there?
It's brutal.
And claustrophobic.
Yeah, and it's especially fun when you start smelling the gas. That's when you're like, oh,
I
this
got
is
the
what everyone.
fears.
Yeah, I'm like, this is what they were talking about. I remember smelling the gas pouring in my helmet. I'm like, oh yeah, this does suck, huh?
And then when the foam blocks get old, there's just tons and tons of foam dust in there that you're inhaling.
Oh yeah,
That's also not
I
fun.
think I think I pulled foam out of my nose for a week.
Another bright spot, though. You know how much it suck? Have you jumped full gap into a foam pit?
No, I didn't. We didn't get that far when I was there.
Okay, well, that sucks worse than flipping in. Just letting you know.
Why?
Because of like, for some reason, when you come in like that, like spinning, you don't like land as hard as you do when you just jump straight. When you just jump
Okay.
straight, you land like way harder. For some reason, when you come in like that spinning, you kind of like cut through the foam or something. It's just not as bad. It's way worse when you jump straight. So I would only jump straight like once to get the. That's what Travis was like. Just flip it, and I was like, listen, I would never just flip a ramp without jumping it. Why would I? Why would I just try and flip
Yeah,
this one?
like get one so you have an idea of what it's going to look like and what to expect. And
Speed and where to turn, all that. Yeah.
yeah, man, that pit is not that big.
No. And the wall looks gnarly when you're going into it from 70 feet away.
Yeah, I can imagine. When I was there, I'm like, wow, I don't know about jumping 70 feet to this. This feels like if I just blip the throttle a little bit too much or too little, you could miss it. I mean, you're probably fine. Everyone does it, but
It's way bigger than a landing, than the space on a landing. It's like
yeah,
50 by 40 or something like that. How many times have you had, especially at a monster jam, unless they've really increased, well, you got airbags now. Back in the day, dirt landings at
the
monster
bags are
jams,
pretty
dude,
sweet.
they were not big.
Did you ever jump to Mad Mike's portable?
No.
Okay. That's my intro to freestyle. Those couple of random shows I did with my buddies, they had bought Mad Mike's portable. I don't know how you guys did it, man.
Dude, I had a
Like,
box fan that was pretty small, and in the beginning, I had no airbag for the front of it or anything, so you're just looking at the windshield of the thing. And it was like 10.5 feet tall. uh,
how tall was it?
it was so when I originally built it, um, John was like, it needs to be narrow to fit in between the crush cars, which at that time the lane in between was 12 feet. So they're like, that's maximum width. And it was only like 10.5 feet tall. Eventually, I did build a extension on the top of it, which it was only like 11.5 at that point or something, or 12 I don't even think it was 12. Um, and it had like the safety deck was only like 6.5 feet on it.
Damn.
And
Yeah,
then
that's
I,
small.
I always ended up getting jammed into, was this the Freedom Factory? That's what it looks like.
No, that
Um,
was random speedway over in Florida.
nice. I've raced figure eight bus racing.
I had never seen it before. That's the wild. That's the most Florida shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you got to be coming out of the corner looking for the guy so you don't get T-boned. Dude,
Yeah, they had the crowd screaming for the buses to get hit at this one.
yeah, of course.
It was. I mean, I guess that would probably be the norm anywhere for it, but
Oh, they get into it. Was it full on redneck fest? Like, did they have ski car racing where they put the metal plates on the back wheels? So it's like riding around a front wheel drive car with the e-brake on
no,
in the
they didn't do
snow.
that. But they did boat trailers,
Yep.
trailers with boats, and it was definitely chaotic.
Yeah. And the place is just a shit show after because there's just debris everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Everything about that event was pretty wild. Like, yeah, that was noteworthy.
That's where I was
Just with how.
supposed to, this past weekend, I was supposed to go and help my buddy in Tennessee do one of the shows before American Airlines canceled my flight. But yeah, I help him do the tour of destruction. He jumps a car like 100 feet into a row of parked cars.
Damn. I think I've actually seen the Tour of Destruction like flyers before. It looks like a fun event.
Yeah, they're from down in Florida, but they have some in Tennessee, South Carolina. We've done the Freedom Factory twice down there.
Cool.
Yeah, bringing redneck back.
Now the
keeping it
South is a
alive.
good place for it.
I know we need to do some up here. People won't know what to do.
Yeah, I know. You're not kidding. You're like, how are you allowed to do this?
I usually light off as pyro too, which of course we're not allowed to do in New Jersey.
Yeah, y'all got some pretty strict laws up there.
It's gay.
Yeah, one of my buddies told me when I was up there for a show, he's like, "Hey, just so you know, each hollow point you have up here does carry a felony sentence per round."
Yeah, in New Jersey you have to like get your permit. Then if you're going to buy a gun, you have to like sign up to they have to do like another background check or something, and then that your purchasing permit is only good for like a month or something. So if you don't buy something within that month, then you have to go and get another permit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, when I was in Georgia, I was like walked into a place. They were like, "Let us see your ID." Ran a background check. 5 minutes later, I had a pistol.
Yeah, it's basically the same in Florida. Like they still do the background check and all that, but even coming from Mass, like Mass had all the crazy. You
Yeah.
can only have 10 rounds. You can't have a foregrip or whatever
Yep.
on any of your guns. And like an AR-15 when I moved, and they passed more laws, so I know it's more expensive now. But at the time, I think it was like $1,000 to get one, and go to Florida, they're $400.
The gun itself, or like with permitting and all that stuff.
The gun itself,
Jesus.
like you can go buy. I mean, it's not like a super nice model, but you can go buy an AR at the store in Florida for $400.
I'm coming.
All right,
Coming
cool.
down.
Do it.
So even in the summer, you still riding Monster Jam stuff?
Yeah, dude, Monster Jam is. They got a lot of shows, and then more so this summer. For me as an upright, it's a little bit slower, but for the team, it's super busy because they're doing this pilot tour called Freestyle Mania, and they're doing it on the West Coast where bikes are going to match the trucks, and it's 8 riders. And I think that goes for 6 rounds. And then even outside of that, I think I'll be every weekend at Monster Jam from August into September. And then it slows down to like twice a month up until the end of November.
And once you get your bike on that tour, you're pretty much locked in for it.
More or less, yeah. I mean, I have 2 bikes, and there was times where, hey, find a fill in for you this weekend. We need you to do this or this, and but yeah, my nicer of the 2 bikes basically lives on the semi for half the year.
See, I would never do that. I would send the crappier one. That's what I always did.
Yeah, but the nicer one won't break. It's got less hours on it.
Well, when I sent mine out in the other truck, sometimes if I wasn't there, other people would ride it and stuff. So I'm like, I'm just gonna give you my other bike. Keep my clean one with me.
Yeah, that's fair. It's kind of like good riding a 2-stroke because most guys don't even want to ride them anymore.
That's true. What you're on a Yamaha, it looks like.
Yeah, YZ250.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I rode most of my career. At the end, I did swap to a 450, and there's good things and bad things about the 450 in comparison. It was
Do you
easier
like
in a
it?
lot of respects, but what were you saying?
What did you think was easier about it versus harder?
Well, like when you do these monster jams and they bring the dirt in and it's all like Play-Doh.
Yep.
There was somewhere we had to turn on the pavement, and then it was like all dusty there from the monster trucks going on and off of the pavement. And then the dirt itself was like Play-Doh. So like on a 2-stroke, this is actually the first one I rode on a 4-stroke. I would have been like clutching on the pavement so that I didn't spin. Then I would have had to clutch on the dirt to get the thing to wind up. And I
Yep.
just turned the throttle on the 450 and it was just fine on both.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also,
Man,
you
some
have a
guys
little
come in.
more rev out if you were like under rotating or something and you revved it. It wanted to spin it quicker than the two stroke would.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then you could adjust how your bike flew, not with suspension, but with your idle. So you just turn the idle up, and then the thing doesn't want to nosedive on you.
That's cheating, man.
A little bit. Otherwise, I would just do like a click here or there so that the bike, would just kind of want to level itself out off of the ramp. But with the four stroke, like I said, I'd just turn the idle up or down.
That's cool. I don't think I've heard anyone say that one before,
And everybody's
but it
probably
makes
riding four strokes with you, huh?
pretty much. I mean, Kenny Haskell was on tour with me, or we were on tour together rather, and he's riding two strokes, so that was fun having another guy ripping. But yeah, it's basically all four strokes. There's a handful of us still on the YZs.
Berlou.
Berlou, Cam Sepulveda, Haskell. Hunter Dyer sometimes rides a two stroke.
That's interesting sometimes.
Yeah,
So I feel like would be
that
worse.
kid shreds.
Yeah. Who wants to go back and forth?
I mean, I guess it's good if you can.
It's good if you can, for sure. But like, I would rather not have to readjust all the time.
Yeah, agreed.
It is definitely a little bit of a different thing. But, like, there are those guys that don't like think that much or something. I don't know what the deal is. Like, but they're just cool with whatever.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, it's a dirt bike. It can jump this ramp.
Yeah,
Watch this, and
exactly.
then throw it down harder than all of us.
Exactly. I know how to fast to go. Don't worry about it. Like, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of makes sense though. Like for me, one of the biggest things I learned is not to think about it as much. Like just go and jump and ride, and even if it's a shitty setup, to just be like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So I guess if you apply that to your bikes that you're riding and you don't care what they are, then you're bulletproof.
It's true. Till you have a. I mean, here's the thing I say that, but those kids don't have the issue, because they just deal. But I've definitely gone other places and had to, still on the same bike, like Colombia, South America, and thing runs like it's underwater. You
Is that
just
'cause of
don't.
the gas down there?
Well, the gas is terrible. The other thing I realized, which I didn't realize the first like 5 times I went, is that you're at like 6 to 10,000 feet. So I'm like, oh,
Oh.
that's why this thing has no power.
Yeah, fortunately, I've not had to deal with elevation yet,
Well, wait
which
till you go to North Dakota or South Dakota or something like that.
I'll be up in Newfoundland, Labrador, I think it is, in Canada in a few weeks.
I'm
But
not
I don't think
sure.
that's elevation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Um, that's another positive to the electric bike.
They're cool, man. I would definitely like to get my hands on a Stark at some point.
Yeah. Would you switch to a Stark if you had one?
If I was gonna give up riding two strokes, then that would probably be what I'd want to do.
Or are you just keeping it core with the two stroke?
It's what I know. It's just what I know. I don't think about it. There's like I think right now where I am still growing as a rider, it's better to keep something that I trust and know because one of the interesting things I heard about the Stark from a friend is that you almost have to learn how to do your tricks again because there's no gyro or anything to the motor. So if you know how like when you go and even something simple like an Indy seat grab, you can really push on the bike as you're pivoting. And my friend was telling me that when you push on the Starks, they move around quite a bit. So you almost have to like not relearn your tricks, but how you do them
Right. You probably need
because
to
it's so
like
much.
get get like really good pop and not kind of force yourself up by pushing on the seat or whatever.
Yeah. Not
That's
that
an
that's something that we couldn't overcome.
Yeah, of course. But that's another thing with the four stroke. It is a little more stable.
Really.
Yeah, you just said that and it reminded me of that. But it is a little more like you can push off of it and it doesn't want to move around quite as much as like a two stroke does.
Do you think that's the weight or just how the motor runs?
I think it's gyro. I think it's flywheels bigger. Plus, then you have um, the timing chain, and then you have your valves up top, which are also spinning. So I think all those little pieces spinning ends up making the thing. That's why it feels like different or a little bit heavier. I think just because of the weight of the all the spinning mass inside the motor.
Pretty crazy how the motor spinning affects the flight of it that much.
For sure. Have you ever taken like a bicycle rim and spun it and then tried to turn it?
Like just holding the bike and spinning
Well,
it.
no, just holding like the axle and spin it and hold the axle and try to turn it. And the thing wants to like fight you.
Okay, that makes sense. No, I haven't done that though.
You're not a bicycle kid anymore.
Yeah, I can't ride a bicycle. I eat shit when I ride bicycles. Like I can jump dirt bikes and I can snowboard, and that's basically the extent of sports that I would say I'm good at.
It's because that's what you put your time into. If you can do all this, you can figure it out. You just don't want to. There's no need to.
No, there's not, especially with how hard I like. Man, I went to Highland up in New Hampshire before I'd moved. Rented a downhill bike. I was like, this is gonna be sick. I ate shit so many times jumping that thing. It was
Really?
brutal. Yeah,
So I heard the downhill bikes are like a little more like a moto bike because they're a little bit longer and stuff versus like a BMX or something.
they are. I think that like what I was, and this was a few years ago when I did this, but for me, I noticed that like when you're ripping in the woods on your dirt bike or even on a track, you know when you feel your wheels breaking traction, you have a decent amount of fight that you can give the bike to correct it. Whereas, at least to me on the downhill bike, you'd be ripping along, and the second that wheel like shoots out on you, you're already ragdolling.
Maybe you're just not as in tune.
No, definitely not. It was fun though, despite getting ragdolled.
Crashing if you don't get hurt is actually fun.
Yeah, I miss that. I miss those days. I'm noticing it. You don't
Hurts
like. I
more.
don't feel like I. Yeah, it hurts more now than it did, and I'm like, that wasn't even a bad crash. Why did that hurt so bad?
That's the other thing too, though. You can't ever tell. Sometimes you fall over and end up hurting yourself, and sometimes you ragdoll and you're like, "Oh, I'm okay."
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You could be like third gear wide open and completely lose the bike, and you get up and you're like, oh, okay. And then in first gear, you feel like you just hit a wall.
Yeah, exactly. You always get hurt on the smallest jump on the track.
Yep. Or if you say, oh, just one more.
Yes, you never say one more. You're either gonna do a
No.
couple or it's over.
Yeah, two more, skip the last.
And I think that's just because you're like let your guard down, because you're like, oh, I'll just do one more, like it's not a big deal, and then you like don't pay attention like you should, So when is your next show?
I leave for Canada, I think on the 14th, and then the show is on the 19th. But that one's gonna be a freaking journey to get up there.
Are you driving?
Yeah, I'm towing my ramps. Pick up one of the guys in Massachusetts, and then we have to be at the port by like mid afternoon on Wednesday to then take a 16-hour ferry to St. John.
Nice. So do you have your own ramps?
Yeah, I got my own setup.
Nice.
Yeah, I got lucky. I was able to buy one. Right when I started doing shows, I figured if all the shows are to bags, and I should probably buy a bag at least to practice to. And then here and there, I get to take it to shows.
Yeah. Awesome. What type of you bought the whole setup, takeoff and landing?
Uh,
Or you had to
yeah.
make a
So
takeoff?
I ended up getting a takeoff made. I did a template off of one of TJ's ramps,
Yep.
and then dude, looking back, I got stupid lucky. Like my buddy connected me with his friend who's a welder fabricator for the Navy, and this guy just did a kick-ass job building this ramp for someone who had never built a ramp.
Yep.
And the takeoff came out great. And the bag is one of I think it's not one of the original landers, but it's one of the fancy bags before they did the slanted backsides,
Yep.
which honestly I prefer because some of the slanted backsides, the top chambers are thinner, I've noticed. And then they thicken up on the actual downslope. So over the safety deck, you might only have like one rib worth of top chamber. And those ones seem to have a little bit more bounce to them compared to when you have two.
Yep. Yeah,
But yeah,
the airbag thing is interesting, right? There's a lot of adjusting and figuring out, open this chamber, add an extra blower.
yeah, they're weird, and all bags are not created equal.
No.
Like I don't want to badmouth any equipment while we're on a podcast, but I'll just say that like there are some brands that I think shouldn't exist that I've rode to.
Well, I've only rode to one, so
What
but
kind of bag did you jump to?
I don't even know. I
Whose
have
was
no
it?
idea. Cycle Circus, Johnny Rocket.
Oh, cool.
Um, but I'm like a knuckle guy. I always land up high, and it was like boing all the way to the bottom,
Yeah, you want to land like a foot or so past the knuckle.
at least.
Yeah, at least.
That one you kind of wanted to drop into a little bit further.
It is funny though with the bags because like once you get used to them, like I learned most of my tricks. I mean, basically everything besides rock solids to dirt before I had bought my lander, and I remember like jumping to dirt. You know when you're going to be a foot short the second you're coming off the ramp.
Yep.
You like bail out of doing your trick, straight to survival mode. Whereas the bag, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be a little bit short, and it doesn't really change what you're doing. You just know you might have a little bit of a hop once you
Yeah,
land.
that's true. And you can land a little nose high on a bag where it's not really like if you land nose high on a regular ramp, it's going to slap you down kind of hard. And
Yeah,
the bags don't really seem to do that. They kind of like just shh.
yeah. It almost is like I guess I hadn't really thought about if I'm landing perfectly level to the ramp or if I'm nose high, but yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, bag you
Doesn't
could
seem to
be
matter.
way more like looped and it doesn't it's like take it up where with on a regular landing you're like kind of trying to match angles a lot more.
Yeah, but I feel like that keeps you more dialed when you still go to regular landings.
Yeah, for sure.
Keeps you honest.
I like when they've airbags first came out, everybody was like, "Ooh," talking shit. And somebody tried to, ask me and they were like, "What do you think about these airbags?" And I'm like, listen, it's cool to say that I did all this shit to metal and everything, but I would be lying if I said that I wouldn't have loved to have an airbag, especially when I started to flip, because like that was the biggest hurdle was from the pit to then like just a dirt pile or a metal landing. At least
It-
like the airbag seems like the next logical step in between there.
yeah, dude, I don't know that I would do this if it like I don't think I logically could have taken the leap into seeing what I can do riding my dirt bike if it was all steel. Like I couldn't imagine being in some parking lot like you guys did and having some sketchy little portable and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna flip to that today, no problem.
Now you know why I have no hair.
No shit.
Dude, I didn't flip one show, which was the first show that I ever went to go and flip, which was in Colombia. And the ramp that they made, it was like scaffolding basically, and it had like expanded metal on it, but the holes were like this big. And I'm like, dude, if I fall on that thing, I am gonna be just
Like you're done.
eaten up, dude. So I didn't
Oh
flip
my
to that
god.
one, but that's the only time. And I was like, and I'm in Colombia, not like I want to end up in a, South America. I'm like, I definitely don't want to end up in a hospital here. But after that, I pretty much made myself flip everything, no matter what. If we were riding and I was supposed to flip it, I would flip it. We did a arena cross once, and it was like the catapult landings at the arena cross are like 6.5 feet tall, and it's just like round. And we jumped
Yeah.
to one of those, and the dude that was with me, Doug, shout out Doug Cossey, had a bike issue, jumped through his bars like down the downside, and then the promoter guy's like, "Hey, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it." And I'm like, I could feel price negotiations coming on, so I was like, "Give me 1 second." So I turned around, I jumped it straight because I would flip different than I would jump. So I jumped it straight, like with flipping in mind, and turned around and then just flipped it the next one. And I was actually like, I'm just gonna go long. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna flat land this because it was like a bike length to land in, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna flip to flat. And dude, come around. It was the best landing the whole day. Greased it, and I just waved to everybody and rode off the floor. I was like, later.
You're like, all right, I did my job. Now I'm
Yeah,
going. This
but I'm
thing
like, I'm
sucks.
not gonna argue with you about full pay. I'm just gonna flip
Yeah,
it.
that one's a crazy argument.
Yeah, that was for
Like,
sure gonna be the conversation.
yeah, and it's funny. You can feel it coming when you know.
As soon as he stopped me and he's like, "Hey, you don't have to do it if you don't want to," and I'm like, "We're not doing this. I'm just gonna blast it."
Yeah, and you're like, you know what, man, you're right. I don't want to, but I didn't just drive however many miles to get negotiated pay.
Exactly. I don't want to, but I'm going to. So here we go.
Yeah, I'm even at the point with like weather and stuff that if it comes down to getting paid in full or not, I don't care if I got to push the thing in. I think I could do most of my tricks at a shorter gap, and I'll ride until you come flail on your arms and say, "No, don't do it, don't do it. We'll pay you."
Yeah, exactly. Dude, these bags do look good. They look big. There's a big
Dude,
ass
they're
safety on it.
they're
Is this
enormous.
TP?
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Duffy was so Duffy came to that event with Travis, and that was before I'd gone to his house or met him. And it was pretty cool. He just sent us videos after. And I'm like, "You're the man. Thanks, Duff."
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope.
Didn't
Um,
think that Travis would ever come watch me ride my dirt bike on a freestyle ramp.
yeah. Yeah, it's like you just feel like a jerk no matter what you do with TP there, right? It's like, eh, not a double backflip, not a TP
Yeah,
720.
he's kind of like the Elon Musk of dirt bikes. It's like you don't count. You're not really a human. I don't know how you do all the things you do.
Yeah. Dude, I think his brain goes faster than the average person's brain. I've said this a million times. I think he just processes stuff so fast that like it has to be because I've seen him when I was there when he very first started trying the TP 720 and tries it like 4 times and he goes, "Why can't I get this?" And I'm like, "One, you've tried it 4 times. Two, it's impossible. Nobody's supposed to be able to do that."
You're doing things that dirt bikes shouldn't ever do.
Yeah. This is why, Travis. But to him it was just like, this is so stupid that I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, and even someone who rides ramps, let alone could even like shake a stick at him riding with him, would be like, yeah, no, dirt bikes don't do that. The end.
Yeah. That's what a reasonable person would say.
Yeah, well, you gotta have some loose screws to do this at any level.
I always said you have to have a very like you just have to have a strong conviction that it's going to work out. It's going to work out. This will be fine. I know the
Yeah,
wind's blowing. It's fine.
man, I've decided I'm an indoor cat. I definitely like these arenas compared to having to deal with the wind.
Yeah. Or rain or whatever.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'll ride wherever there's a show, but at first I was like, oh, these arenas are crazy, man. Like polished concrete and 10 feet to a wall, and you know, it's pretty intimidating your first time going to them. And then I realized, like, wait, there's no wind or rain. You just have to ride your dirt bike.
How about the first time you measured out the gap and set it up inside and you're like, this is too big. When you get back and look at it, you're like, there's no way this is. And then the first time I went, I measured it probably 3 times because I'm like, I think that's long, dude, because the gap looks huge because
Yep.
it's like taking up most of the floor. And I'm like, measure that again. Nope, it's whatever. And I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, and it's funny too because there are weekends you look at and you're like, man, is that gap? That looks kind of small. And then the next weekend you look at it and you're like, dude, that's not what we jump. That's enormous.
Yeah. These big
But
airbags make me kind of want to jump something. But I just had my suspension turned into moto suspension, so there you go.
uh, there are a lot of guys who don't even get their suspension done.
That's insane.
I agree.
That's number one is getting your suspension done, period. Because even just on the ramp, like
Yep.
it's not like I'm huge, but I'm like, close to 180. And on a stock bike, dude, I'm dragging my toes up the face.
Yeah, I rode my first year doing shows with stock suspension, and then I finally went and got it done. And that was the first thing I noticed was how much more consistent the pop was. Just
100%.
more, a lot smoother, a lot more predictable. You didn't
Yep.
get that like all the way sacked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned that if a bike is brand new, the suspension's brand new, I can turn the clickers all the way in and ride it for like a couple of weeks. And then once it breaks in, then it's over with. It's still not as comfortable as like done suspension, but it's not terrible, terrible.
Yeah, well, that's good to know. I haven't heard anyone say that, and it sounds like we're about the same size.
I would go everything, rebound and compression all the way in and like 2 out, and I could ride it for like a couple weeks. But like I said, it's got to be brand new because once they get broken in, then it's over with.
Dude, I can't believe. So this my bike that I ride mainly now is the only bike I've had that I bought brand new and has only ever rode ramps and not abused. And I think they stay like brand new.
Yeah, yeah. Second gear, bop.
I think I've had it out of second gear maybe like 3 or 4 times, and that was just because there was a chance to go and just blow out everything
Yeah.
and go and get the motor hot for 30 seconds.
When you were riding that track, when you got done, was it just smoke coming out of the exhaust?
Yeah, and then when you shut the bike off, it's still smoking
Exactly. That's all the
because your
carbon
package
in
is
your
burning
pipe.
up. Yeah,
Hell yeah, America, son.
dude, that was a cool project. Do you know who MJK is on Instagram?
Uh-uh.
He does like the custom boots, and I did a project with him and the gear company that sponsors me, Saints of Speed, and that was a fun kit.
Awesome. Hell yeah, that's a big old heart attack there. Getting her scorpioned out.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest trick I can do.
It's funny, sea crabs are real weird at first, right? Like when you very first start to learn them, it's like, how am I going to get my feet up high?
Yeah, and like, man, I remember when I like very first learned them, even just grabbing the seat, I was like, oh,
It's weird.
holy shit.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird motion at first when you before like you get the hang of it and the pop and stuff. It's like you feel like you have to reach through your legs so far and stuff.
Yeah, and then once you learn it, though, you don't even think about it.
No, because you get confident with your pop and you just start jumping up, like real fast.
You know what's funny to me though is how some guys either learn grab tricks or bar tricks. Like I struggle with bar tricks. I don't know why that whole forward movement doesn't feel natural to me.
Can
But
you get your
like my
heels
friend,
through?
huh?
Can you get your heels through?
Through the bars?
Yeah.
Hell no. I haven't even played around bar hops.
Oh. Well, next time you jump
All
up, try to
right.
knee yourself in the chest and lean yourself back a teeny bit. Because that's the biggest thing is people, when you keep yourself vertical, you're trying to push your feet out and you'll hit your bars. Rock your chest back a little bit so your legs are going up.
Makes sense.
Because it's just the first part. Like if you go up so that you're turned already before you push, you're not close to your bars.
That's what I've always been spooked about with going through them. You can fuck up a grab pretty bad and you'll be fine.
Dude, you just do a half sterilizer or sterilizer if you get caught doing a. I've done it before, hooked feet, and then just like sat. That's the other thing. Pull yourself to the tank or the seat or whatever so that you land already sitting down. You don't just let yourself hover above, and then when you land, you get slammed into the bike.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah, hopefully I'll ride this week and I'll play around with that because that is the first time anyone said it in a way where I'm like, oh, just put your chest up.
Yeah, exactly. You got to rock back a little bit.
Man, you know what really killed me for bar tricks that kind of strayed me away from them is plain old Supermans. I can get up and I get stuck so bad, dude.
Oh, me too.
And I landed on my nuts, like totally sat on them one day, getting stuck.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't think I want this trick that bad.
Dude, I did the same thing. And the whole thing with Supermans, and not like I was ever good at them, is that you have to remember to recoil and then go down. That's the problem. Once you get straight and then try to swing yourself down that way, you'll never do it. You got to go
No.
out, back in, and then down.
Yeah, see, I wasn't even no one me and my buddy were just out riding. It's not like I had someone even there to be like, oh, make sure you pull your legs in. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, I'm gonna learn these. Maybe one day I can get KODs. And then I just sat on myself and was like, all right, that's it for riding today. And
Old Hickory
I
Nut
haven't done
Crunch.
yeah. Yeah, you get a good one, man, and it makes you go, okay, I don't think I need this trick.
Yeah, I learned no-footed knacks 3 times, once to each side, and then relearn to the first side and knock myself out, and that was the end of no-footed knacks. So
You
I was
kicked the
like,
seat?
yeah, I got stuck next to it, and I kicked this. I was just literally ended up landing just standing next to my bike. And it was just
Oh,
like, as soon as I landed, it's like, brrr, right to my face. And I was like, all right, no more no-footed knacks.
I've only done that trick twice, and it was way before. I don't even. Man, I got to ride at Brody Wilson's house when I just learned gap. And
Not the place.
dude, I survived.
Uh,
And I did no footed cans twice. And on the second one, I kind of quit my seat and I was like, ooh, I don't like how that feels. I don't want to do these anymore.
yeah.
Not here.
No, Brody's place. I was always like, "Hey, Brody, why don't you put a little safety on this thing? Like we're trying to learn, not die." And he's like, "Yeah, but then if you go anyplace else, it's easy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still trying to learn tricks here. It's not
Yeah,
really conducive to learning tricks. I don't feel like."
man. The first time that I went there to ride, because like, me and my buddies, like Brody knew that we rode, but he was like, hey, why don't you come check it out just so you make sure that you don't bring your bikes out here and like I want you to just know what you're signing up for,
Yeah,
which was totally a good idea on his part. I was like, all right, yeah. And I was just all gung ho with it because at the time, this is way before shows and or even on my mind. I'm like, oh, cool. I want to go ride this place. Mickey comes down and just names off like every person I knew to be a good dirt bike rider, followed by the word crash. And then at the end of it, he goes, but not my Brody.
dude, Brody. Now, did you go back? You obviously went back and rode with him. He can simultaneously inspire you and then make you feel like a piece of shit at the same time because you're like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's awesome. And then you're like, I'll never be able to do that like that.
He's a
Damn him.
robot. I remember, so my first year doing shows, I actually got to do a good amount with Brody and would be at the arenas. And at the time, I was definitely just trying to survive because it was new. And I'm like, fuck, dude, we have like 10 feet to stop before a wall. That's crazy. And meanwhile, Brody would go out, straight jump, rock solid, KOD, flip, some massive fucking flip trick. And then just parks his bike. He's like, oh, how's the ramp feel? And I'm like, those straight jumps I did were pretty sweet, man. Feels great.
Yo, he's like a live highlight reel. Like every time he goes off the ramp, it's like he never messes up. It's always something huge that looks sick. And you're just like, just make a mistake every once in a while. Do a dead sailor or something. You know what I mean? When I thought you were going to be
Panic
doing
rev it
shit.
at least.
Yeah, at least give it a panic rev. He's not even. I think he has his bike geared like way up because well now he's on a 450, but even on a 250, he was like, "Oh," and I'm like, "How the hell are you even making the gap? Like it just sounds like you're lugging the whole time." He's like sidewinder for like 10 steps.
Yeah, dude, and even guys going slow at the ramp, like, dude, Greg Duffy, when he goes at the ramp, is the slowest thing I've ever seen in my life. He's like you almost think the bike could stall. He's like, burp, burp, burp. What?
That's
Like right before it.
Dustin Miller was the same way. He's also small, but I was at a ramp to dirt IFMA and they were so tight, dude. The run-ins were like you had like 50 foot of run at a 70-foot gap or something. He turns the corner
Damn.
and I'm like, he's gonna just roll by it, and he's like, "Ah," and clears the thing, and I'm like, bro, I am struggling out of the corner to try to get over the gap, and he like rolled the corner like so slow.
Yeah, it's people's routing styles are always interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we happen to be talking about two of like the sickest people to ever ride a dirt bike. And Duffy's pretty sick too.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen him in person, but I mean, a double front flip, yeah, that's pretty gnarly.
And almost 10 years later, it still hasn't been done again.
Yeah, because nobody wants to do that.
No, there's not enough money in it. And even if there was, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Just front
I can't
flip in
even,
general. I'm good.
dude. I can see X Games now, and I'm just like, I don't watch the guys doing front flip tricks and ever think to myself, I bet I could figure that out. I
Exactly.
mean, okay, if I had access to all the stuff and maybe someone making as a mentor and or you're gonna do this, maybe, but
I think if you
I don't
like
know.
lived in Wagga Wagga, Australia, and got to ride with those guys all the time, maybe it'd be a different scenario. But yeah, to just watch it on TV and then be like, I'm gonna figure that out. I'm good.
Yeah, it's a strange balance too. I mean, I feel like if you're 18 or 20 years old and you don't have real responsibilities yet, it's easy to convince yourself to do it.
That's true.
And then you get a little bit older, you have a kid or something, you're like, I don't know about that one.
So we'll wrap this up here. Where can everybody follow you online?
All my socials are Desmond underscore FMX.
That's it.
And yeah, it's the same thing on every platform. I try to make it easy.
And you said your biggest ones are Instagram and TikTok?
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok, and surprisingly, Snapchat's the one I got the biggest following on,
Really? How
which
many people are on Snapchat? Because I see you got like 50,000 on Instagram.
I think it's like almost 67 or 68,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are you getting paid
You
from
know,
any of this yet?
frustrating, man.
I know.
It's so frustrating.
Especially like
Snapchat,
Instagram, I know is a pain in the ass. Like their
dude,
monetization is like,
I
it's like a
basically
magic concoction of I don't know what happens.
I've given up on Instagram, man. Like 4 years ago, I thought I had cracked the code. Like everything I was posting was going pretty viral. I had probably 4 or 5 videos I think hit multi-millions. And then one day it just stopped cold turkey.
Really?
I'll like post a video and I get like 100 likes on it. I'm like, that doesn't really make sense with 50,000 followers, but all right, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they switch from like really pushing video to then pushing still images, or they like same thing on YouTube. At one point when they were pushing shorts, I was doing a bunch of shorts
Yep.
and they were getting a bunch of views, and then all of a sudden they were just like, now we're going long form. And then all of a sudden I was like, none of the shorts are getting anything. And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
And like right when you think you have like a rhythm figured out with it, it stops.
Yeah, they just changed direction. They're like, nope, we're doing long form again. We're doing pictures. With the Krusty, I'm doing the Krusty socials, and I was doing all these videos, and then I posted a picture just for the hell of it, and then we made money on the picture and on a still,
Really?
and I'm like, what? So then I was just posting pictures every day.
Dude, you know what the craziest one for money is? Was Snapchat. Like, this is probably, it was the end of 23 on into 24, but for like 3 months, I got paid like $1,000 each month from Snapchat.
And then that dried up too.
Yeah, boof, gone. And
Dude,
theirs is crazy because they pay you in Snapchat crystals that you have to convert through some third party, like they're affiliated with Snapchat, but the crystals convert into US dollar and then you
uh,
get paid out from this third party app to your Venmo. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but now I have money. Okay.
yeah, as long as it converts, I guess. They're like, oh, guess what? The crystals are down in value right now. Sorry, buddy, it's $50.
Yeah, well, at first it like gave me this notification and it's like you've been awarded 10,000 crystals and I'm like, what do I do with that? Like I'm like trying to Google what is a Snapchat crystal and I'm getting
Yeah,
all these crazy answers and I was able to piece together as $1,000. I'm like, really? Why? And
maybe
yeah,
they're
it was
trying to
cool
make
when
their
it
own cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's their hot took coin, I guess. I don't know if you saw any of that, where that girl went and made a
Yeah.
coin and then rug pulled everybody.
I bet she didn't even have any idea what was going on.
Why we made her famous.
Because we love idiots. That's why.
Yeah, dude, it always like makes me laugh because you can go ride your motorcycle in front of however many thousands and thousands of people each weekend, and you know just go back to work like a normal person on Monday, but you say "hawk to" in front of a camera, and you're like main news.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't ever tell what's going to go viral, right? I mean,
No.
it's like half of the people were making fun of her, half of the people liked it, but it doesn't matter because it's still views and clicks and whatever. And I remember in the beginning, there was some guy that was like, oh, this all happened, but now she's making, like talking shit like, oh, I bet she made her dad real proud and this and that. And then had she not done the meme coin thing, she could have made a legitimate, like career out of the podcasting and everything after from one stupid thing. We've learned from, the Kardashians that you don't have to do something great to get, you know what I mean, to build a career. So it's like as long as you can parlay it afterwards is really the big thing. But yeah, I mean, she just should have not done a meme coin. That's all.
Yeah, man, even with everything she did, though, I would have to imagine that financially she's got to be all right.
You would hope so. But
I
if
mean,
she was
unless she
getting,
got a hell,
huh?
I was gonna say, unless she got one hell of a drug habit or is getting really raked through the courts.
Well, it's like, what did she actually make money on?
I don't know, man. They had her on like all these different podcasts, though, and
Yeah.
even just I don't know. That's a good question.
Like, what was she monetizing?
Maybe the videos. I feel like
Maybe.
she still made it at least a couple of months before the crypto thing went sideways on her.
Yeah. Unless you're making a lot of money, a couple months isn't shit, you know? I bet she's probably just right back at Chick-fil-A or whatever the hell she was working at before.
Dude, you know who I realized absolutely kills it on monetization?
Who?
Uh, so I have an almost 2-year-old son, and he watches Miss Rachel on YouTube.
Never heard of her. Although my wife is pregnant, we're going to have a kid in August, so I'm sure I'll know who Miss Rachel is then.
Oh, congrats, man.
Thank you.
That's awesome. But so Miss Rachel is like a toddler learning YouTube personality. If you look at her videos, they're like 250 million, 400 million plays, and
Well,
a long format YouTube video is roughly $2,000 per million views. And she's got like hundreds of videos, and every daycare and doctor's office across the country is playing it.
yeah.
Like, you have a toddler show.
And kids will watch shit over and over and over and over.
Yeah, and I'm like, if you had told me that you were going to become a millionaire from posting YouTube videos catered to 2 to 5 year olds, I'd be like, no way.
The problem is, do they run ads? Because when I do the crusty stuff, it's like, is this made for kids? And if you say it's made for kids, they kind of like curtail your ad revenue, or maybe they just get you kids ads. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like every time that that's playing, it's always like buy Bounty paper towels
Okay,
or
so there are ads.
yeah. I mean, now that you say it, it does seem like it's always household related ads, which would make sense because mom and dad are probably in the room.
Right, exactly. So soon there's
Man, I've
gonna
always
be
joked
ED
that
pills on there.
no, I don't think we do that one.
All right,
I've
dude. Well,
always
thanks
joked
for
that.
coming on and chatting with me. And
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, hopefully we can actually meet in person, and I can get to come and see you. When are you guys back up here in the Northeast?
Um, I know that there is a show in Newark in August. I don't know if I'll be at it or not, though. That one's still up in the air.
Okay. Well, you got my number now. Text me if you're going to be there.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. And hey, before you jump off, I meant to ask you, how'd that amateur FMX event go?
it was all right. We had some people there. It wasn't as big as we'd hoped. Um, but it was definitely a fun time, and we had rented an airbag landing. So a lot of
Oh,
people came
cool.
out and just jam sessioned the airbag for like hours that had never really even, hit ramps before. So that was cool to expose people to that.
Yeah, man, I definitely would have went to that if I wasn't on tour at the time.
Well, I'm working. I'm trying to get some other things going. I don't want to talk too much in case nothing happens, but we're trying to get something going. So hopefully, it can grow and we can do some more events like that because I definitely had fun back in the day doing the amateur contests and stuff. And, it's good for, how many new FMX guys are there? I don't feel like there's very many. And it can at least help
No, not
those
really.
guys. No, the thing kind of died off there for a bit. There are a couple of new kids from what I see, but, like back when I did them, there was the contest, there was way more people trying to get into it initially than there is now, I feel like.
Yeah, well, I mean, it it definitely feels foreign trying to get into it.
Yeah. And that's why the biggest thing with the amateur contests was that people would meet each other and then they would go and ride together and then, they'd just have friends that they knew to go ride freestyle with. So, I mean, I think that's kind of actually like the biggest win of the contest is just like getting people together that have a shared interest and like growing the community.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you end up getting another event on the books, let me know. And if I'm not working that weekend, I'd definitely come through.
Awesome, will do. And like I said, thanks for coming on and good luck with all your shows. And I hope everything keeps progressing and you get that flip down.
Yeah, thanks, man. And thank you for having me on. It was definitely a good time.